I just always think of Veronica. And Veronica was one of the first children to receive food at school through Mary's Meals.
Wow.
And she was an orphan, and she went to bed hungry. So when she would try to go to school, she couldn't focus. You know that feeling, that pit in your stomach when you're extremely hungry, you can't think of anything else other than how am I going to get through this day? Where's my next meal coming from? Headaches, tiredness, that's all there. But when that food started happening, she could get good grades, she started getting healthy, and she became the first female in her family to attend secondary school.
Wow.
And then move on to college, graduate, and now work. You know, she was working in a hotel, and I think there's so many others working for Mary's Meals, working as teachers, going on to do great things within their community, as well as just for themselves.
Hello and welcome to another Perusia podcast. I'm Charbel, your host, and I'm outside today. It's a beautiful day here, a summer day in Sydney, Australia, and I have a guest all the way from the United States, a regional manager of Mary's Meals, and her name is Michelle Keller, and she joins me now outside our beautiful offices here at Perusia, Marymount Mercy Centre. Hello, Michelle, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. It's so beautiful here. I love being in Sydney.
Thank you for coming. I didn't realize, but yeah, you have some connections here in Australia. But you are based in the States, so you are in, is it Ohio or
I'm in
whereabouts
Missouri.
Missouri, okay.
Yes, I have done work in Ohio,
Okay.
and so Columbus and Cincinnati, but I live in Jefferson City, Missouri.
Okay, fantastic. So you work for Mary's Meals, you're a regional manager. How long have you been with them now?
I have been with Mary's Meals for about 2 years now,
Okay.
2.5, and I've volunteered since 2014.
Wow. A mutual friend of ours, that was Lisa, right, that connected us.
Yes,
Maladlik,
Lisa, yes.
She's doing great work, and we had her on a podcast a few months ago. And so she connected us, and I thought, yeah, absolutely. And the timing was perfect while you were visiting Sydney. And I'm familiar with Mary's Meals through another person people may know is John Pridmore, the guy who wrote the book From Gangland to Promised Land, you know, the former gangster from East London. And he now lives in Ireland. And so he's been promoting Mary's Meals over the years, and every time he comes to Australia, and he was over here recently actually, doing Melbourne missions,
Yes.
He would always promote Mary's Meals. So that's how I knew about it.
Wow.
But then now to learn more about it with you, I'd like to inform everyone, what is Mary's Meals? And I guess you've been giving me a bit of background already, but you know, the background, the founder, where it started, why it started, and then how many it's reaching now. So can we give us a bit of an overview of what is Mary's Meals?
Sure. Mary's Meals is this beautiful organization where it really started with Magnus McFarlane Barrow. He is the founder. He's from Scotland. And he and his brother and his family, they went to Medjugorje. And everything started from there. They were led to a life of prayer. Their family decided they were going to have a retreat center at their home, which is still run on their property today in Scotland. And he really started out just learning more about prayer and leading that life of prayer that we love so much as Catholics and as faithful people. And then one day he and his brother were in a pub and they heard about the Bosnian War. And their hearts were called to action. They wanted to do more. And so they decided to take up aid for the people in Bosnia. And they started asking friends and family to deliver aid to the shed on their parents' property. And they went off on a truck and delivered aid. They came back thinking it would be a one-time thing. And it was filled again.
Wow.
So it was like the loaves and the fish, where it just kept filling up. So they created Scottish International Relief. And that led to just delivery of aid over and over again to people in need. So his heart was really being called forward in that action. And then in 2002, there was a famine in Malawi, Africa. And he went to deliver aid, and he met a family there. And the mother was dying of AIDS, and the father had already died, and her 6 children were surrounding her. And her oldest was Edward, and he was 13. And Magnus said, "Edward, what is it that you dream of?" And Edward just said, "I just want to have enough food to eat and to go to school one day."
Wow.
That was his dream.
Basics.
You know, to think of our privilege of
Yes.
that being a dream seems amazing. But that led to Mary's Meals. So in 2002, Magnus started feeding 200 children in one school in Malawi, Africa. And today, over 20 years later, we are feeding over 2.49 million children in 18 countries.
Wow. Every day.
every day at
Every day.
school. Yes, it's beautiful. We are in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean.
Oh,
So
praise be to God.
we've grown.
It's very touching to hear that story. The 13-year-old, he just wants to have food and an education.
Yes.
And many of us in the West, we're thinking of gadgets, or
Yeah.
thinking of whether it's video games or smartphones or
Yes.
the latest toy. And we still somehow are not satisfied, are we? We sort of
Right.
That's how we become consumers, in a sense, that it's one thing to the next, and we need that entertainment or that pleasure all the time, and we forget about the basics in life. Hang on,
Yeah.
we've got shelter, we've got education, we go to school,
Yes.
we've got food, we've got clothes. Hey, we should think about that next time and appreciate these things.
Yes. And I'm a former teacher, so just thinking about these students and how oftentimes our students in the States will say, I don't want to go to school.
Yeah.
They don't appreciate it. But then to know there are children around the world that's all they want.
Yes.
They want to go to school, that could be a dream in
Wow.
itself. Yeah.
Wow. How is that? I mean, so that child impacted, so can I pronounce his name properly? Is it Magnus?
Magnus,
Magnus.
yes,
What a
yes.
name.
Yes.
So what, did he keep a relationship with that one boy? And I'm obviously
Yes.
I'm interested to see if his dream came true.
He visited him. He was not able to get to the school with food, unfortunately,
Okay.
but now his child is going to school.
So that young boy is now grown up.
Yeah, he not only influenced the beginning of this global organization, but he is now benefiting from that with his children.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I wanted to touch on, this has been going now for 21 years.
Yes.
2.49 million children
Yes.
every day. This is not even considering that many of those 20 years ago are not still being fed now. They've moved on in life.
Right.
So there's a bit of a rotation happening.
Yes.
So this world could be, the tens of millions. If you're adding up all those daily kids, but then those coming and going.
Yes.
Only how many different children have been impacted? They're well and truly in the millions.
Yes. I just always think of Veronica, and Veronica was one of the first children to receive food at school through Mary's Meals.
Wow.
And she was an orphan, and she went to bed hungry. So when she would try to go to school, she couldn't focus. That feeling, that pit in your stomach, when you're extremely hungry, you can't think of anything else other than, how am I going to get through this day?
Yes.
Where's my next meal coming from? Headaches, tiredness, that's all there. But when that food started happening, she could get good grades, she started getting healthy, and she became the first female in her family to attend secondary school.
Wow.
And then move on to college, graduate, and now work. She was working in a hotel, and I think there's so many others working for Mary's Meals, working as teachers, going on to do great things within their community, as well as just for themselves.
I'm just it's just the thought of how this all started. So through tragedy, I mean, we're talking about the Bosnian War. I'm very familiar with that through a friend I grew up with who came from Bosnia, fled, came to our schools in our class, and would always tell us about the Bosnian War and how traumatic it was. But it's interesting how that tragedy over in Bosnia, all the way over in Scotland, someone gets touched and does something about it, which lays the sort of pathway for then the infrastructure to do it again when the next problem hits. So now we have Malawi in Africa, and now he's primed and ready. He's done this before. So Magnus is now helping, and I just can't help think when people say, there are evils in the world, there's tragedy, absolutely. But look at the good that then it generates.
Yes.
You sort of don't know or appreciate good service unless you see the opposite.
Yeah.
And so when you see that, those out in need, now we have people stepping up, filling that need.
Yeah.
Praise God. So God bless Magnus. Love to have him. Has he been to Australia?
I don't think he has been. And
so we've got to get him here as well. So let him know.
I will let
Come
him
down
know.
under, and we'll have to have him here and do a big sort of Mary's Meals campaign.
And we love to, part of our work, we see the innate goodness of people.
Yes.
We know that people are innately good. So as much as there is tragedy and hardship, there are the people waiting to do something. So
Yes.
to see that out of Magnus and be inspired by him and his faith, it's a beautiful inspiration for me to live my life out more prayerfully and in a way that is giving to others, that self-service or the service for others.
It's the gospel, isn't it? It's Matthew
Yes.
25, living out the gospel as Christ has called us. It's not just the spiritual needs, but it's the corporate works of mercy, as we say,
Yes.
helping those, feeding the hungry and clothing the naked and giving shelter to the homeless. All of these is part and parcel of identity as Christians. So very important. Magnus himself so you're saying he was in Medjugorje at the time.
Yes.
So he was a man of faith.
Yes.
When this started, and so that drew him to then do more. So does that come into play in any way? I mean, is this living the gospel? How is his faith today? Is it stronger than ever?
Yes.
And then what is it like with, I guess, the organisation? Are people, are many part of the church in any way participating, and how's their faith?
It's amazing. It is the most beautiful organization I've ever been a part of. I find every single person, I've been so blessed because I get to meet people from around the world every day. And the people that are involved with Mary's Meals, they have a joy and this love for God that no matter what their faith is, they have a joy for God and a joy for others and service.
Awesome.
That is something you see. I think it's all the fruits of the Spirit you can see coming forward from Magnus, especially. He leads by example.
Yeah, great.
The fasting, the praying, the taking this seriously. And he's always saying it's all of us. It takes all of us. He could not do this alone. It's all of us, and everybody has a gift, right? We are one body and many parts. So that's why I fit in. I'm not anything like that special. I am who I'm supposed to be within this organization, the same as everyone involved. We are all have our role and our gifts, and it's beautiful when you find that. So,
love it.
Yeah, it's very inspirational.
Well, I want to talk about yourself now. So just you're one of many now that are working for Mary's Meals. Do you have so you're in how many countries now?
We are in 18 countries.
18,
yes, yes.
And there'll be people working in
we have
each
many
of those
affiliates. We have many affiliates. So I know we are in Croatia and Ireland and Canada and America and the UK and Australia's got a very small part now, and we're trying to grow here.
Absolutely.
And so I actually started, I'm a teacher, and I found out about it at this wonderful Catholic conference in Iowa, the Christ Our Life conference. And I learned about Mary's Meals by watching Child 31. And you can stream it. Child 31 is a video you can stream. It's on the websites. And it's the story of Mary's Meals. How it got started, where we were going. Beautiful story. It's hard. It's something that if you are of any faith at all, you honestly, everybody I speak with that has seen it is moved to do more.
Wow.
To at least pray, to know there are these people around the world who need us and need us to be their voice, and here we are. And so this video kind of introduced me to that idea that I can do something.
You're watching it at the conference?
Watching it at the conference. And then Magnus spoke for a little bit about what Mary's Meals is. And I ran into him actually, and he's so humble. And here he is, he's very globally known, yet here he is walking around this conference just, humbly. And I'm like, oh, hi, can you show me where the t-shirts are? And so that's kind of how we got started. But then I've seen him many times after, and he always inspires me to do more. I was a teacher. I wanted to bring it back to my classroom. My husband and I fell in love with this organization. We wanted to do more. An easy approach was just to say, I want to teach my students who are 3 and their families. And just by sharing the movie, not with the students, but with their families, but sharing the stories with my students. And then teaching my other preschool teachers and our school about it, and doing an art auction every year, and doing porridge days where we give up a snack and have porridge in solidarity with our friends.
That idea.
It's wonderful. Just spreading that awareness. That's what we need at Mary's Meals. It's grassroots. It relies on us. So started out there. It grew to me just growing more in love and wanting to know more. I had to know more. And my friend whose son worked in Malawi for Mary's Meals said, do you want to come? as a teacher, I'm like, yes, of course, I've got to go. I want to learn more. I want to be involved. I'm invested. I feel connected to these children. And so in 2018, my sister and I went, visited 6 schools, and oh my gosh, when I stepped out at that first school, I felt like I had been there before. Like I had
Interesting.
just felt a part. And to see the cooks and the teachers and the students, the joy, the energy that food brings, it just brought a whole new level of passion into my life where I had to come back and be their voice. I had to stand up and I had to say it loudly. These are the people in need. Let's do something about it. And our students are some of the first people to say yes. Even 3-year-olds would give me change.
Oh,
Here, I don't need
that's
this.
beautiful.
You know, like everybody knows I can have a part of this and I can help. I can do something. It's so simple.
Love that. You're never too young to start
No.
helping, right? And it's great children seem to get it. There's this innocence and they know a need. Someone's in need to share and
Yeah.
teach them that idea of sharing and giving up something for another.
Yes.
And this is all part of the meaning of love. What is love? Giving up yourself, emptying yourself for another person. This is the idea. If we didn't have love, we wouldn't have any of these charities.
Yes.
The meaning of charity is the act of love.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's so important. We're in a world we need to see more of this. We need to be doing more of
Yes.
this.
And children are hungry for it.
Yes.
They
yes.
want it. And so when we give them this challenge, and when I get to go to schools and share the stories
Yes.
of the children I met, and I get to share the stories of how easy it is to help, they immediately respond. I always get children coming up, I want to do more. What can I do? And there's so much they can do, even at their young ages. So,
Yes.
you know, it's beautiful to be a part of that, to see the innocence, to see the love, to see that natural
beautiful.
connection. They know that even though they may never meet these children around the world, they're a global neighbor. They're a global friend. There's someone my age in need. I don't care about anything else. I want to help them.
That's beautiful. Now, yourself, so what was the timeline from you volunteered initially to
Yes.
then joining on the staff officially?
Yes.
So how long were you a volunteer before, I guess, committing full time? So you left your career, your teaching career,
Yes.
to be there. Tell
I-
us a bit about that.
2014 is when I first started volunteering, when I went to the conference, when I heard about Mary's Meals, and I started learning more and doing more within our community and kind of spreading and growing. And then 2021 was when I got hired. So
Wow.
yes. So I
7
now
years.
go and I go out to schools and I teach in a different capacity.
Yes.
So I'm using this gift to go out to teach students, to teach teachers, to speak about what we can do, you know, to keep growing Mary's Meals and to share this message of love with others. And that food plus school equals hope.
That's awesome.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you were teaching for how long before that? What was your career?
My career, I was in the educational field, early childhood
Yeah, early
primarily,
childhood. Okay,
for
yeah.
around 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
can
I
I
loved
touch-
it.
yeah, you were saying off camera,
Yeah.
you love being a teacher, and you're using those skills now
Yes.
for in a different capacity, but
Yes.
it seems to be working. You know?
It's great because I can still teach.
Yes.
And I still get that interaction with students, which fulfill me because their innocence, their joy, their love, it just is natural for me to connect with that spirit. And I feed off of that energy and to actually get to speak with them in a way that encourages them to keep going in that way, to keep loving, to have compassion for others, to also think and be challenged with what we have. Our privilege, especially in the States, we get food at school every day.
Yes.
We get food, we have government assistance. These other children don't. So to know that these children that don't get assistance are going hungry, there is no guaranteed meal for them.
Yeah.
And that we have that. So to even think about our lunches and waste and the privilege of food choice and how much we spend on items that may or may not be necessary.
Very true.
And that cost, you know, for us in America, it's $25.20 will feed a child for a year at school.
Wow.
So $25.20.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how can someone get involved with Marysville? So I mean that dollar goes a long way.
It does. 93 cents of every dollar, so 93% will go directly to the charitable activities.
That's great to know.
And also we work with local farmers. So where we are able to, like in Malawi, they grow maize or like corn and make a porridge with it.
Okay.
So, and in Haiti, there's rice and beans, and so depending on where a child is located, what country we're serving them, depends on the meal they're going to get.
Okay.
And if we're able to work with local farmers, we'll work with their agriculture, their community, their economy. We want this to become self-sustaining, and we want them to take ownership. And there's often a sense of ownership and pride, which is beautiful. Each of our schools, the kitchens are run by volunteer cooks.
Oh,
So their local community will be moms and dads and teachers and aunts and uncles who will come in. They'll walk miles to get to school, often themselves on an empty stomach, giving up a day's wage where they themselves may struggle to feed their family. But they said, we want this. So before we enter their school, they know this is a part of that commitment. And they say, we want to do this because we want our children to have a better future than we did. We see that they can grow. And speaking with the cooks while I was there, they said they're getting healthy. They're getting fat. They're getting nutrition. They're finally growing. They're growing. And how much that plays a role in our mental development, our physical development, as well as the ability to focus and learn, and then have a dream. What a privilege to dream. To think, I have a tomorrow. That's a gift. To think, what am I going to be when I grow up? That's a gift. So they get to experience this. The cooks are happy to make this happen, and there's ownership there and love for these students who really are part of their community. And they've seen the changes. They've seen how it really changes their story.
I didn't realize that the cooks were all volunteers as well.
Yes.
Because how many meals are we talking about on any given day in one sort of city? Is it? Do you have multiple
There's different
kitchens?
sizes. So
what's the range here?
Right. There could be, say, a group of 200 students, or I've been to a school of around 900 to 1,000.
Wow.
There could be 100 students to one teacher in some of these schools. There are some really large schools, and then there are smaller depending on the community. So we go where there is the greatest need. Someone will contact Magnus or the organization. They will look into the government and the community to see, can we work together to make this happen?
Okay.
There's a beautiful community up a mountain, and it's in a movie. It's in Generation Hope. That's also online. But these women, Magnus said, we want to help you, but we don't know how we're going to get this food up the mountain. Like, you have to be able to get the food to the school. So how does this happen? And the women there, the volunteers, said, you get it down the mountain, we'll take it to the top. So that first day when he gets there with the food in the truck, and they're excited and they're celebrating, they're singing, the women are putting 2 to 3 bags on their head of porridge bags, walking up the mountain singing joyfully all the way up the mountain.
Wow.
And so happy to get it there because they know this is so crucial.
That's powerful. Just the imagery there. And there's ain't no mountain high enough, as they say.
Yes.
So that's beautiful.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a lot of meals every day. Are we talking before school? Is this breakfast, lunch, dinner? How does that look? Is it just a simple meal?
It's a daily meal. So it'll be one meal at school every day.
Okay.
And so the students I visited in Malawi, they would get it early in the day. So around 7 a.m. when they arrive, they would do their Malawian pledge, and they would line up for their food.
Wow.
And that would help them focus on the rest of their day. So they need that if they've gone hungry the day before, if the last meal they had was at school, they're hungry, they're ready, they need that to focus. And as a teacher in the States, I got to see, our cafeterias are very loud and noisy. And so when I got there to Malawi and we were helping to serve the porridge, and the students were lining up, and there'd be 100 to 200 students in line, and I was like, oh my gosh, they were quiet. So quiet, you could hear a pin drop. Like, it was that quiet. And as a teacher, I'm going, wait a minute, I'm turning to my friends saying, why are they quiet? No teacher told them to be quiet. And they said, they're focused on that food. Many had walked miles on an empty stomach to get that food.
Wow.
All they could do was think about, is that there? The children that are first starting a Mary's Mill school, if they're thinking, is that going to be there when I get there to the front? If you've ever waited in line for something, you will know what that's like. I hope it's there when I get there. Imagine that being a basic need such as food. And then to be a child. And imagine, the parents' relief saying, my child every day. And how long would it take for you to realize they made a promise, it will be here. It will be here. That food is going to be here. So, but we were blessed. We got to sit with them and eat porridge, and we saw this energy come to life. So they were tired, and just sitting there quietly, and they ate the food, and you could see it become nutrition and energy where they would jump up, we would sing with them and dance with them and play, and then they could go to school and focus. The teacher said we used to have to send the kids away. They would be sick, tired, hungry, and now they're able to learn. So the teacher said their grades are getting good, they're here every day, they're coming and staying at school because they know the future.
So it's an instant, I mean, you're seeing instant results.
Yes.
It's affecting their studies, their social life, I mean, a whole bunch of factors. The basic needs of food, it's amazing, we take it for granted. We're sort of living today in it's almost oversaturation of what we're doing with food. Almost we glorify it to the point where it becomes, is it entertaining in itself? We've got these reality TV shows of cooking shows. So on one hand, it's nice that we could appreciate or we can see the importance of food.
Yeah.
On the other, you don't want to sort of trivialize it all or turn it into, entertainment where it becomes, they add all this drama to it, and then it becomes what I call self-inflicted stress. It's like people are getting very emotional on there over a food competition, which ultimately, it shouldn't be the be-all end-all of your life.
Yes.
When we're just sort of experimenting with food, what a luxury.
It is, and I challenge our students to think about that too, of when you get a meal, these children around the world don't get the same meal every day and they are grateful for it. And I don't want us to feel guilty for what we have, but grateful. And then to think about how we use our resources. Can you take only what you need? Will you eat all that's on your plate? Will you really consider that challenge of if a child was with you today from another country that was struggling, one of our Malawian friends from Mary's Meals, if they walk with a student around, what would they see with you? Would they be so proud of you? You're eating everything. Look at all the choices you have, and you're eating what you need to nourish your body. Or would they see complaint and waste? So I want to challenge them. In fact, one student came up and told his teacher afterwards, after I gave a presentation, she contacted me and said, I wanted to let you know, this young boy, he was probably 7, he said, I ate all my peas today at school. Because of these students, he knew that would make them proud.
That's fantastic.
And so it's just that challenge for ourselves, because it is a challenge sometimes. It's so convenient. We are given big portions, and we're given things that we think, oh, I'm not going to eat this. What can I do with this to make the most of that resource?
So true. I mean, I grew up on big portions. My mother fed us very well, and we had to eat every bite, of course.
Yes.
And now my children have 9 at home, and so you have some that just don't want to eat what's in front of them. Well, they're very picky.
Yes.
And it's like we have to really train them to say, hey, be appreciative of what you've got. There are so many that don't have it. I think I wonder, this movie, is it Child
31?
Child 31. What age would that be appropriate for, just for those?
I would say probably, today I would say 10 or 11, but with the disclaimer of talk to your children first.
Yeah,
There is another movie which I love called Love Reaches Everywhere, also on the website. Gerard Butler's in it. He's a friend of Magnus's. And it's very joyful, and I would consider that a movie for all ages.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's a really good one as well. Child 31 is your classic. It's that first movie, beautifully done. People are often moved. Love Reaches Everywhere has that same effect, but maybe more appropriate for all ages.
Okay, that's good to know. All at the website. What's that website?
Yes, so marysmeals.org if you're in the UK or around the world, and we can redirect you. If you're in the US, marysmealsusa.org.
Okay. Is that how you do all the countries? Do you do Mary's Wheels with the country?
No, like Mary's Meals Australia is marysmeals.org.au.
Okay.
So that's Mary's Meals Australia.
So we'll put different links in there, Miguel, and that'll be great.
Yeah.
And social media, there's social media.
There's social media, Facebook, Instagram. Just look it up. Look at Mary's Meals. You'll find all the different affiliates.
Different stories, what's going on. And
stories. They could be impacts, stories of what has been happening, if there's any crisis happening as well.
Yeah.
Any kind of appeal we're having. Yes, we're on social media as well.
Wow. As little as $30.
Yes.
You could feed a child for a year.
Yes, a whole school year.
I mean, I think there's no reason why anyone watching, if we can at least do that.
Yes.
Let's do that.
Yeah, learn more and really look us up. Find out more, because we try to be as transparent as possible.
Yeah.
Look on the websites,
Fantastic.
right? And have us out. Have someone come out to speak at your school, to speak at church. Learn more and then share. Share that message. If you are being called like I was being called. It touched my heart. We need people to take action. Australia especially.
Okay.
We need people to take action. Just sharing the message and let other people decide how they want to take on that role.
Yes.
But, you know, I think it's great when all we have to do is stand up and speak for those in need.
Yeah, amen, amen. You are, your part of your role is not just, it's in part of promoting. You are out there giving presentations and sharing these stories, showing that video. Would that be an
Yeah.
effective way? And how have you, what's been the response from I guess, your experience now that you're dedicating full time to this? How's the response been?
Oh my gosh. I'm so lucky. I get to see the beauty of people. I get to see people listening, taking it in, because they know I've been there. I went to Malawi. I was able to experience and see it. But then as many years, the more and more I go and the more people I talk with, the more time I spend with Magnus, I just get to see this organization at its finest, and that the Holy Spirit is truly at work in it, and that prayer is the key here, that we pray about everything we do. So other people often respond to, I think, what's within their heart that God's putting there, which tends to be, this is great. I'm so happy to know about this organization. What can I do? How do I get involved? And like our students, they have bake sales. They will do walks at school where they will get, you know, pledges for their walks. We have 5Ks. We have concerts, so little concerts to big concerts. We've had Nashville concerts in my area where we've got some great artists who know about Mary's Meals, and they'll come out and people will raise awareness and donations, or, you know, it takes a book club, or just getting together and having a porridge party. I've had my friends over to share the lesson plans we have on our website, and they didn't know the food that I was going to have for them that night was porridge. But we had porridge with our friends in Malawi, and it just led to great discussion and
Excellent.
what more to be appreciative of.
So we didn't touch on that. Lesson plans. What are these lesson plans about? What are you doing there, and who are they for?
The lesson plans are for all ages of students, any
Okay.
school, public, private, it doesn't matter. And what we do is just try to raise awareness. So we'll have short films, or, you know, a 30-minute film like Love Reaches Everywhere. And then we've got activities for the classroom. We have discussion questions. We have all different kinds of activities. There's a superhero project where they can watch a little video about children at Mary's Meals becoming superheroes by eating this food at school. And then you can become a superhero by getting involved as well. So there's a lot of different activities and fun ways to bring it into the classroom, but also it just leads to great discussion of social justice. How do we feed the poor? How do we reach our global neighbors? And then bringing it home. You know, we have activities they can bring home as well.
Yeah, wow, it's so important. We've got to be thinking this way. Education, the next generation, and teaching how to give, how to be selfless, how to appreciate things. All these things, we can do that right in the West. We can then help our brothers and sisters in need around the world. Oh wow, there's so much more. I mean, we could talk about here, but I wanted to maybe for those in Australia. So, is there anything Australians can do? And where do you think to begin? Is the website to start? Education. Is there anywhere? There's nothing. Is there anything set up here that they can get involved with?
We're still working on that and growing it. So we need you. We need you, Australia. We need people to come forward if they are touched by this message and they want to bring it to their community. That would be great. We can do it so easy. 5-minute pulpit talk at church, handing out brochures.
Beautiful.
We can print brochures for you. You can print brochures. You can just lead people to an awareness of a great organization. And it starts from there. Teachers can bring it into the classroom. It's very easy, especially with Advent and Lent and Catholic activities that happen within our classroom. It's very easy to bring in social justice. So there's a lot of ways people can get involved. And tell your family, tell your friends, have an event, and get it going here.
Brilliant. Well, there's a challenge right there. There it is. You've summed it up. Let's try it. The challenge is on, and let's see if we can do something ourselves and build it up over here. Wow. We've only got a few more minutes. I wanted to ask you, I guess, your vision now. So You know, we had that. We started off. We had that young boy's vision and dream
Yes.
of education and feeding. But now yourself, seeing what you've seen, what would be Michelle's dream?
My dream is, I think, that universal dream for us as Mary's Meals community of having no more hungry children. We can do it.
Yeah.
The world is full of food and of
Yeah.
people who can help make this happen. The overall dream is, let's do this. I'm just one voice of many,
Yeah.
and I know that I couldn't do this alone, and no one can, but we're here together in this, where we can grow together,
Yes.
and we can feed the hungry children, and we can give them a future. So that is the world. That is our future. So let's feed these children, right?
That's beautifully said. You just, I mean, yeah, you've challenged me there too. I think there really is no excuse for anyone dying from hunger with the resources we have today.
Yes.
In the modern day. We need to really think about that. How much wastage that goes on in restaurants, in family homes.
Yeah.
How much we splurge on it. How much shopping centres, things that don't get sold, have to go out. How much wastage.
Right. How many cups of coffee would it be if you gave that up?
Yes.
And put it aside? You have to truly put it aside
Yes.
to make that happen, right? Because it's easy to say, you know, most things are on our card, right? We just tap. But if we can actually put money aside and say, instead of this, and it hurts a little bit during that
Yes.
time, right?
Yes.
But it's okay because it's going for a greater need. So yeah, it's a challenge for myself as well.
Yeah, it's a great reminder. Appreciate the little things, because these little things are huge things in other people's lives.
Yes.
So let's do that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thanks for
Thank
coming in.
you.
Thanks for making this happen. And you even have T-shirts. I know you're wearing a T-shirt. You have different merchandise that people can purchase to help promote.
There is a website, heartlandforkids.com, I believe, and Heartland for Kids, and it's in the U.S., and they sell T-shirts.
Okay.
So you can go online, and these go to help feed kids at school through Mary's
Okay,
Meals.
great.
So yeah.
So there's multiple ways people can
Yes.
get involved. We'll make
Yeah.
sure all these links are in there. So.
Perfect.
Well, you haven't got much longer in Australia, but I want to wish you all the best for the rest of your time here in Australia.
so much.
And love it. Next time, please come say hi again. Next time you're in town.
What a pleasure.
And yeah, pray. And maybe, I guess we ask for Mary McKillop, St. Mary McKillop,
Yes.
who we touched off camera, the power of her intercession. But we ask for her intercession now for Australia to get Mary's Meals going.
Yes.
It's in her name as well. I mean, Mary, the
Yes.
Mother of Jesus, but Mary McKillop,
Yes.
named after her. May Mary's Meals really grow in this country, and let's make sure there is zero people starving, out there.
Yes.
At least if we can do that, country by country, together we can do that.
We can do it.
Feed the world.
Yes.
Yeah, wow,
Amen.
I love it. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
So much.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you are inspired by that. Mary's Meals and Michelle and her commitment. She gave up her teaching career to go full-time into this ministry. Very important work. I want to thank all those involved. Thanks, John Pridmore, for letting me know about this. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known and wouldn't have said yes straight away. I would have had to learn more. But it's great to know that great things are happening around the world. So let's get behind this and support such a great initiative. And let's live the gospel and practice the corporate works of mercy. Let's feed the hungry. God bless you. That's another Perusia podcast. I'm Charbel. Until next time, God bless.